Hello guys, and welcome to episode 29 of Minecraft Cities and Castles. Today we're going to be taking a look at the siege castle of Tretogor, or as it's formerly known, Borovica Hrad, literally the castle among the pines. So I'll open Zero's world map and show you guys where we're at in Tretogor. We are down here, and just above us is Brewerstown. If we go a bit to the east, we can see Regensburg, and then way off that way in the loading area is Newport. So that's where you'll spawn in if you get the world download. Now, I was originally considering making Brewerstown a castle that was undergoing a siege, but the more I built in Brewerstown, the more I liked the kind of idyllic look that it has, and so I mostly scrapped that idea, but I still liked the siege idea. So I decided to come out here, create this big custom pine tree forest that has a bunch of other trees in it too. You can see some cedars, and there are some cypress trees and stuff. And you can see we have custom trees on this side, and this side. Now, it might seem a bit odd to put a castle on a lower part surrounded by hills, but basically I just wanted it to feel a little bit further from Brewerstown, and the best way to do that was just to literally hide it. So why don't we take a look at what's happening in this siege before we actually step into the castle. You can see that out here we have set up a couple of siege tents, and that is the people who are coming off of the boats there. So we'll go get a closer look at the boats in a minute. There are actually 3 siege camps. So there's this one here, and this is probably the one I'd least want to be stuck into because it is very open to arrow fire. You can see we have our shields and stuff up, and we even have a wagon here with an arrow sticking out of it, but honestly, I wouldn't want to be here. This is a very dangerous place to be. Over here you can see where we set on fire this sort of area so we could clear out some of the leaves and fences and stuff, and we tried to get up here with siege ladders, so we tried to get up over the walls, but Borovica Hrad has double thick walls, so we didn't get very far, and we mostly just got shot at. And you can see over here a place where it didn't really go well, and somebody has fallen off of this little bridge here. If we backtrack just a little bit though, we can get around this side. This house we're not going to be using for our siege because there was kind of a bloody incident, and the family that was here was unfortunately taken from this earth. If we come around here though, here was the old blacksmith shop, and this place is where we're setting up our headquarters. So this is where the boss is hanging out. Got a fire going. The only fire outside of the town itself, or outside of the castle rather. And if we come over to this bit, you can see that there is a little granary here that is still a little bit full, although it's mostly gone. We've been stealing their supplies little by little. Up there where we started, there was a little church, and I want to point something out. So this place is inspired a little bit by Slovakia and Czechia. So I wanted to include the double cross, which worked out with the fences. We come inside this little chapel here. You can see we have some curtains hanging, and we have a bunch of candles that have melted into puddles of wax. It's a pretty simple structure, but the Lord here was nice enough to build it for the kind of townsfolk, so you know, he can't be that bad. We come through this hole in the fence where we broke in though. We can get back to where we were and get down to the port. So over here you can see the fellas are trying to make a battering ram. So they cut down one of those big old trees and they kind of burnt the edge into this sharpened bit. We didn't bring any catapults unfortunately, so this is still a pretty gnarly siege. Over here, though, you can see the ships that we came in on. There are 3 of these little ones, and then over here is the big mama ship. And at the back here, there's even kind of a fortified place. So this is really this is a warrior's ship, you know. A little bit of storage, but this is mostly just space for rowers to come in. Over here, though, you can see the wheat fields and a former wheat field with the farmer's house. You know, casualties of war. I made this into a pale garden to get that nice dark burnt grass color, so the sky kind of changes when you walk through. And if I take us around the side here, you can see that we have a couple of these little dammed ponds, and this is where the third part of the siege is happening. So over here there is a burning house. Looks like the boys got a bit carried away, so we won't be sleeping in that one. We have a chicken coop over here, and looks like we already ate the chickens, unfortunately. And then here we have a really small little windmill, or water mill, rather. So if we come inside here, you can see that the peasants would dump their grain into here. It would get funneled between these two grindstones, and then as this turns, it'll pump it out onto this side. But somebody cut open the bag of flour, and now it's just kind of spilled out all over the floor, unfortunately. And I'll show you the little mechanism. So here we have our little water wheel, and we can close this off if we want the water to come on this side so that it doesn't spin. And here's where the third camp is, like I said. Put up a couple stakes so that nobody can come in on the roads into town, because we don't want reinforcements coming and helping these besieged people. If we come around here, though, you can see where we are trying to mine through these walls. Because like I said, trying to get ladders through there is kind of a nightmare. So I figure if we dump enough dirt over this place, then we'll be able to put a ladder up right to this wall. And it's kind of a blind spot from the main castle. But why don't we actually go inside and live among the besiegers instead of the people who are doing the besieging? So coming inside here, you can see that we have this outer wall and then this nice big central sort of fortified tower. Over here we have an old fighting ring, although it looks like the blood is dried. I don't think anybody has been practicing lately. It's not really the time for it. And it looks like they got some reinforcements in. If we come around here though, we can get up to the walls. So it's not a bad place to be defending, honestly. It's a pretty good castle in terms of defense. And if we come into this little tower here, you can see we have a pretty clear shot into that camp. So that's why I said that's probably the worst camp to be stuck in. And over here we have a bit of a wall. But like I said, this is kind of a blind spot. So I think they're probably going to get through that wall in the next couple days and start filling it with dirt. If we come around this side, you can see that we can get into the basement of the castle. But I want to first show you the small buildings that we have in the courtyard. So this one here is our laundry. Every good castle deserves a laundry room. Here you can see we have some pants hanging and towels and stuff, some old linens. Most of the candles around here aren't lit because we can't really afford the wax right now. We don't have a ton of candles in the castle. And this is where some of the guards sleep. You can see there's some old crumbs on the table, so people aren't really having full meals anymore. But we are growing some carrots at the back and even a couple of beets. If we come down here though, there are a couple of toilets and these go directly into the moat. So we have one here and another one here, a little bit smaller. And then over by this side are the stables. So if we pass this water trough, we can get to here. And you can see we have space for 4 horses, but we only have 2 because unfortunately, I think we had to eat the other horses. You know how sieges go. Horses are always the first ones to go. Over here, you can see we're getting pretty low on grain. This room should be full to the top, but it really isn't. And let's check out that basement part I was talking about. I say basement, but it's really the ground floor. So coming in here, you can see we are a little bit low on firewood at the moment. And, well, we're a little bit low on everything. Usually we'd like to have these shelves stocked with plenty of pots and jars and probably have fresh herbs hanging around here, but we don't have much hanging at the moment. Even garlic would be nice at this point, but we just have this one stinking beet. If we come around here though, we do have plenty of fresh water because this castle has a cistern. So just above this, we have a stone courtyard where we're collecting rainwater and then it slowly drips down into here, which is a pretty nice setup. We may go hungry, but we won't go thirsty. That being said, we have another room full of empty shelves. This one has empty shelves and empty jars. And we still have a couple barrels with stuff in them, but it's not looking great. Over here, we just have a little bit of a room for some servants. Let's get up now to this main defensive tower. And you can see it's done in this kind of Tudor wattle and daub style, using banners. So this is going to get us to the main floor, basically. Coming in here, we have a big tapestry, and again, most of the candles here are either gone or extinguished because we're trying to conserve wax. A pretty empty table. Even the Lord is eating a piece of stale bread, and he has a crossbow by his side in case anybody comes through the door. If we come around back, you can see the bathroom. So here's our big bathtub, and over here is our toilet behind this curtain. Now, ordinarily we'd have some fresh flowers hanging here, but like I said, I think we ate the flowers a few days ago. Here, though, we still have something growing, which is nice, and this is that courtyard I was talking about. So this kind of drips down into the cistern as we collect rainwater from this part. If you see how the roof is shaped here, you can see that any rain that falls in about this area is going to fall down into our little collection. And this gets us back to where we started. So if you want to go up to the apartments where people are actually living and sleeping, you're going to have to bust through another door. That's the beauty of castle design. This used to be a storage room, but it looks like it's been turned over for refugees. So we have a bunch of little bedrolls here on the floor. And then if we come up here, we have a little storage room. Coming to this side, we have our armory. We still have some arrows, so that's good. Well, you can see that barrels should probably be full, so we have used a lot of arrows out there. Coming up to this side, you can see that ship again, so it's a bit menacing. If we come around here, we get to a small bedroom, probably for the captain of the guards, and this has a little balcony here. And now over here we have the place where most of the guards sleep, so there's only about 5 guards who stay in the castle itself. And like we saw down below in the courtyard, there was that little building where some more guards are sleeping. If we come back around to this part of the castle, this is the Lord and Lady's apartments. So we have a nice big carpet here, some furniture, tapestries, a little bit of laundry, a nice big bed with some curtains that we can draw to keep in the warmth. If we come around here, we have just a small little balcony, which is a little bit of a defensive weakness, but if you get to this balcony, you have to go over 2 walls and then climb up a 3rd wall, so it's really not the easiest thing in the world. And down there are those 2 toilets I was talking about. You can see this moat is actually being fed by a mountain stream, so it slowly comes in and then it slowly makes its way back out to the sea. If we come back though, we still have 1 room to check out, and that is the chapel. So the townspeople have their own chapel, but this is where the Lord and Lady pray. So we have this nice fold out with pictures of saints and probably baby Jesus. A little couch here if you want to just hang out. It's a quiet place. Sometimes you need to meditate. And then over here, this is a little defensive room in case you need it, which right now we do. Although you can see we still have that blind spot like I was talking about. There's no good way to see the people who are mining down there, so unfortunately the castle designers left out that one little space that would have helped them out a lot. The only building I didn't take a look in really was this little lighthouse, so I can show you. We have this little pulley system here. I'm using display entities for these chains. We lift the firewood up and we can take a hook and bring it onto here. Here I've used another display entity, so it's a big fire on top of a campfire, so we can get a nice smoky look. And we have a spyglass, which unfortunately didn't help us much when it came to the bandit slash besiegers. And if we come down here, it's just a really wonky staircase full of wooden scaffolding. And I think it's nice that we have this little quaint place in Tretogor that is kind of about to be not very quaint because it's about to be taken over by bandits. Also, the only on-fire building in all of Tretogor, which is kind of neat. I was really happy with how this one came out, especially from a distance. It has a lovely fiery look to it. So let me know what you guys thought. Have you tried to build your own siege castles? If so, what do you think the besiegers are going to be using? I know the typical, like, kind of classic siege that we see for like the Middle Ages is the big catapult trebuchet thing throwing rocks. But I wanted to go for something more low-key. This isn't a huge army. It's just probably like 50 guys attacking this place. They probably thought it would be like an easy target because it was right by the water, and they're slowly finding out that besieging a place takes a long time and it kind of sucks. So maybe they didn't come as prepared as they should have. But yeah, that is going to do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.